Good morning. Happy Friday. Hopefully you made it up and ready to go. All right. Hey, and it's Easter this weekend. Hope the Easter Bunny comes. Okay, chapter 18 in Winn-Dixie. We're going to find out, I think, about why Amanda is not so nice and she calls her pinch-faced. Okay, here we go. When we got to Gloria Dump's, I told her I had two surprises for her and asked which one did she want first, the small one or the big one. The small one, said Gloria. I handed her the litmus lozenge, and she moved it around in her hands, feeling it. Candy? She said. Yes, ma'am, I told her. It's called a litmus lozenge. Oh, Lord, yes. I remember these candies. My daddy used to eat them. She unwrapped the litmus lozenge and put it in her mouth and nodded her head. Do you like it? I asked her. Mm-hmm. She nodded her head slowly. It tastes sweet, but it almost tastes like people leaving. You mean sad? I asked. Does it taste like sorrow to you? That's right, she said. It tastes sorrowful, but sweet. And now, what's surprise number two? A book, I said. A book? Uh-huh, I said. I'm going to read it out loud to you. It's called Gone with the Wind. Miss Franny says it's a great book. It's about the Civil War. Do you know all about the Civil War? I have heard it mentioned a time or two, said Gloria, nodding her head and sucking on her litmus lozenge. It's going to take us a long time to read this book, I told her. There are 1,037 pages. Woo-wee, said Gloria. She leaned back in her chair and crossed her hands on her stomach. We best get started then. And so I read the first chapter of Gone with the Wind out loud to Gloria Dump. I read it loud enough to keep her ghosts away, and Gloria listened to it good, and when I was done, she said it was the best surprise she had ever had, and she couldn't wait to hear another chapter, or couldn't wait to hear chapter 2. That night I gave the preacher his litmus lozenge right before he kissed me good night. What's this? He said. It's some candy that Miss Franny's great-grandfather invented. It's called a litmus lozenge. The preacher unwrapped it and put it in his mouth, and after a minute he started rubbing his nose and nodding his head. Do you like it? I asked him. It has a peculiar flavor. Root beer? I said. Something else. Strawberry? That too, but there's something else. It's odd. I could see the preacher getting further and further away. He was hunching up his shoulders and lowering his chin and getting ready to pull his head back inside of his shell. It almost tastes a little melancholy, he said. Melancholy? What's that? Sad, said the preacher. He rubbed his nose some more. It makes me think of your mother. Winn-Dixie sniffed at the candy wrapper in the preacher's hand. It tastes sad, he said, and sighed. It must be a bad batch. No, I told him. I sat up in bed. That's the way it's supposed to taste. Litmus came back from the war, and his whole family was dead. His daddy died fighting, and his mama and his sisters died from disease, and the Yankees burned down his house. And Litmus was sad, very sad, and what he wanted more than anything in the world was something sweet. So he built a candy factory and made litmus lozenges, and he put all the sad he was feeling into the candy. My goodness, said the preacher. Winn-Dixie snuffed the candy wrapper around the preacher's hand and started chewing it. What? That doesn't make sense to me. I have to reread that. Winn-Dixie snuffed the candy wrapper out of the preacher's hand and started chewing on it. How do you snuff something and eat it? I don't know. Give me that, he said to Winn-Dixie, but he wouldn't give it up. I had to reach inside his mouth and pull it out. You can't eat candy wrappers, I told him. The preacher cleared his throat. I thought he was going to say something important, maybe tell me another thing that he remembered about my mama. But what he said was, Opal, I had a talk with Mrs. Dewberry the other day. She said that Stevie says that you called him a bald-headed baby. It's true, I said. I did. But he calls Gloria Dump a witch all the time, and he calls Otis retarded. And once he even said that his mama said I shouldn't spend all my time with old ladies. That's what he said. I think you should apologize, said the preacher. Me? I said. Yes, he said. You should tell Stevie you're sorry if you said anything that hurt his feelings. I'm sure he just wants to be your friend. I don't think so, I told him. I don't think he wants to be my friend. Some people have a strange way of going about making friends, he said. You apologize. Yes, sir, I said. Then I remembered Carson. Daddy, I said, do you know anything about Amanda Wilkinson? What kind of thing? Do you know something about her and somebody named Carson? Carson was her brother. He drowned last year. He's dead? Yes, said the preacher. His family is still suffering a great deal. How old was he? 5, said the preacher. He was only 5 years old. Daddy, I said, how could you not tell me something so like this? Other people's tragedies should not be the subject of idle conversation. There was no reason for me to tell you. It's just that I needed to know, I said, because it helps me explain Amanda. No wonder she's so pinch-faced. What's that? Said preacher. Oh, nothing, I said. Good night, India Opal, the preacher said. He leaned over and he kissed me, and I smelled the root beer and the strawberry and the sadness all mixed together on his breath. He patted Winn-Dixie on the head and got up and turned off the light and closed the door. I didn't go to sleep right away. I lay there and I thought about how life was like a litmus lozenge and how the sweet and the sad were all mixed up together and how hard it was to separate them out. It was so confusing. Daddy, I shouted. After a minute, he opened the door and he raised his eyebrows at me. What was that word you said? The word that you said meant sad? Melancholy, he said. Melancholy, I repeated. I liked the way it sounded, like there was some music hidden somewhere inside of it. Good night now, the preacher said. Good night, I told him back. I got up out of bed and unwrapped a litmus lozenge, and I sucked on it hard and thought about my mama leaving me. That was a melancholy feeling. And then I thought about Amanda and Carson, and that made me feel melancholy too. Poor Amanda. And poor Carson. He was the same age as Sweetie Pie, but he would never have his 6th birthday party. So now we understand that Amanda kind of challenged her, right? Kind of made her think she was pinch fit. But now maybe that she's pinched, she knows why Amanda's upset. Maybe they can be friends. So, I'm going to switch gears a little bit today because it's Friday. So today we are going to do some scholastic news. Now, I didn't get this in my box until you had already picked up all your stuff. So we're going to do this electronically today. All right. So what I want you to do is you're going to go, you can either do the link from the daily schedule. That will take you there. But I need you to go to scholastic.com. Okay, do you see where I'm pointing? Scholastic.com/SN3. Okay, so it basically means Scholastic News, and then right here is Scholastic News, 3rd grade. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to hit the thing that says login. It's up in the upper right-hand corner, I believe. Okay, so you're going to hit login, and then you're going to say that you're a student. And then you're going to put in the password. They're going to say, what's your password? And you're going to put a capital A, DAMSROOM 7. Okay? It's all one word. Don't make a space. And then you can get in, and I do want you to read the articles. I really want you to read the articles. You can have them read to you, I think. There's an option for that. Okay? But I want you to be thinking about the main ideas. Right? Go back. It's really important to refresh our memory about all the different ways to read. Okay? But this is a really interesting article. Can cows change the climate? So climate, we hear a lot about climate change, right? Climate is not everyday weather. Like yesterday, it rained. Today, it's supposed to be sunny. That's weather. Climate is how the weather is over a pattern of time, how it usually is, okay? And what they're saying is that our climate is changing. It's getting warmer actually, and we're having more severe weather because of we're getting warmer, and it's making these changes. And the reason is because of the way that we live and the pollution, right? And so I haven't read this article, but I'm hoping you will. And maybe it says here, experts say that getting cows to burp less could help protect Earth. Well, I'll be. So you better read this. This is interesting. And I'm going to read it too. Okay? I'm going to read the paper version though. Okay? And there's some videos you can watch. Okay? There are other articles too, but I really want you to read the one about climate change. Pretty pleased with sugar on top. Okay? Or have it read to you. So that's what I would like you to do. And then I want you to meet me for a meeting at 9:45. Okay? And I'm going to be Zooming from my house today. Because it's Bring Your Pet to School Day. And, well, that's where my pet is, at my house. So I'm hoping that you will bring your little pet in and we can have a little meeting, okay? So be ready to share how you're feeling. Maybe we'll practice splitting into 2 groups. Maybe we can practice doing that, okay? So it's just going to be an easy Friday, all right? We'll go over the schedule together at 9:45, all right? I think you're going to get to be with Mr. Fetterbush today in a Zoom meeting, so that'll be fun too, okay? All right, so I'll see you at 9:45. But you have a job to do. I want you to go get on Scholastic News, and I really do want you to do the reading part before you start watching the videos, okay? Have fun.